Okay, I'm doing a true video after a really long time. This is from my Wilmington house. I'm leaving for Chicago today, going for a conference, the Chicago Linguistics Conference, and yeah, I'll be back on Monday. It's not for too long, but yeah, it's just for the weekend and one extra day on Monday. But I'm very excited, never been to Chicago before. I'm going to capture as many clips as I can. Yeah, and maybe a bit of the plane ride. So my plane ride is not a direct flight. It's from Philadelphia to Detroit, and then from Detroit to Chicago. So I have to have a layover. It's a very short layover, about 1.5 hours, but let's see how it goes. So excited, and also I'm going with a friend. So this is a friend's trip also after a very long time. She's also graduated recently, so we are very excited. Look at this. My lawn was just mowed last Saturday, and it's just been like 5 days, and look at it. The grass is growing like crazy. But this is my beautiful neighborhood this morning. How quaint and quiet and pretty it looks. I'm on gate D12. Ooh, bookstore. That's what I'm wearing. Traveling light. Let me see, I'm D12, this one. That's the airport tram. Yep, they call it the express tram. Wow. And they've got nice stores. Brooks Brothers, nice. Huh, it's got like fancy stuff here. That's so sad. The bean is closed. No. That is not pretty. The bean is pretty. Yeah, that's all I got of the bean. It's under construction. No. No, that's not good. But this amphitheater looks nice. Ooh, it's got a real theater over there. Oh wow. There are seats. bit of Chicago neighborhoods. This is close to University of Chicago. I'm going to the conference now. It's not even 9 a.m. The conference, the first talk is from 10 o'clock, but I wanted to go a bit early. Pretty neighborhoods, huh? Quite pretty to be in the heart of the city. These kind of buildings, like houses, it's quite unnatural in other cities. I mean, I've not seen in the places where I live. This looks like something important. Laboratory School's historic campus. Arts Hall. Oh, it's really empty. I mean, of course, it's a Sunday morning, so this is a hall where I'm going for my conference. Oh wow, that one's, that's so tall. Oh, it's a Trump Tower. Oh. Wow, it's so big. My goodness. Chicago Tribune. Why is it so smoky there? This building is so funny. Look at this. It's got a weird shape. I wish we could see the river with the That's it. I can only smell cheese and cheese and cheese. Excessive cheese. Yeah, that much cheese is not. That much cheese is not my thing. Yeah, we didn't come this side. We were on the other side. This is our boat.
This vessel for any reason at all tonight, it'll be through one of these gates. Likewise, we also consider our staircases egress routes. There's one at the stern, two at the bow. Please do not stand, sit, or congregate on them, as my crew needs people go up and down them freely in order to do their jobs, but I do invite you guys to use those staircases to go explore the rest of the vessel. What you will find downstairs is additional seating along the bottom at the sides, and in the center we've got a really nice climate-controlled cabin. At the forward section of that cabin, well, there's a full-service bar with beer, wine, mixed drinks, soft drinks, snacks, all available for purchase. And at the rear of that same cabin, well, that's where the restrooms are located. Now, a couple very important safety rules that we ask that you all abide by while you're on the water with us today. Yeah, that really leaves a mark. Second thing, there is no smoking on this boat. That does include e-cigarettes and vaping. Third, any kind of garbage that you happen to have, please use the trash receptacles throughout the vessel.
Grocery store, movie theater, bowling alley, skating rink, marina on the river, and those parking ramps above, which you can still see behind us. Now, Folks, having seen those parking is that it never happened on accident or due to foul play. Both times were filmed stunts, once for Steve McQueen's movie The Hunter, and the other was for an auto insurance commercial. Now, after this bridge, on the right side of the boat, this red brick building is the Reed Murdoch Center. It's 110 years old. It is a window to the river's more industrial past. Right here, this used to be a canned goods warehouse when the river was our port. Ships would come in from Lake Michigan and dock at warehouses like this to load and unload goods. It's a mixed-use office building today, but we do still have a commercial port on Lake Michigan in Chicago. The Port of Chicago is on the south side today, not downtown on the river, like when the Reed Murdoch Center was built 110 years old. Folks, after this bridge, we're going to look directly ahead of us, because directly ahead of us, way up high, is a tall rectangular glass tower that says Salesforce on top of it. That's the Salesforce Tower. The Salesforce Tower was just finished last year, 2023, by Kelly Clark Kelly Architects. It's entirely an office building, and the land that it stands on was a parking lot 20 years ago when a new owner of that parking lot decided he'd rather own some shiny skyscrapers. That's one of the ways that new skyscrapers can... right where I tell you, you might notice there's actually a stone building here. You're right, it's easy to spot. On the right side of the boat, that's the Merchandise Mart. The Merchandise Mart on the right was the largest building in the world by floor space upon completion in 1932, with 400,000 square meters, which is about 4.2 million square feet of space. It was finished in 1932 by Graham Anderson Probst and White. It's Art Deco style, defined with vertical lines, geometric ornamentation, and how it sort of stair-steps its way up to the roof at the top. That's Art Deco style. It was designed by designed by Graham. Office building today. And up until 2008, the U.S. Postal Service gave the Merch Mart its own unique zip code or postal code. That was 60654. The north branch is to the right, and the south branch is to the left. This fork in the river is called Wolf Point. No one is sure where the name Wolf Point came from, but the name Wolf Point is older than the city of Chicago. I always suspect. Let's stick to the right side of the boat. In front of us to the right, there's this glass tower with the arch at the base. The glass tower with the arch at the base on the right is, if you look up at the whole opera house, the whole thing resembles a giant throne. It has two armrests, a backrest, and the seat faces west. People have theorized that 20th century railroad magnate, Mr. Samuel Insull, who bankrolled its construction and lived in the penthouse at the top for a year until they went bankrupt, wanted the Opera House to be a throne overlooking his railway business empire to the west, while also turning his back to New York, where he didn't get his dream job of CEO of General Electric. Maybe. The truth is, Graham Anderson... Folks, none of those numbers include the antennas. The antennas on top do not count toward the height of the building. It is the tallest in the city. It was the tallest in the world for 22 years, all without including those antennas. Now, it was designed by Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill architects. The lead architect was Mr. Bruce Graham, and the lead structural engineer was Dr. Fazlur Rahman Khan. The original owner and main tenant of the building was the headquarters of Sears Department Stores and Catalogs. Sears moved out, and they're the ones that originally commissioned its construction too. And just so that we're all on the same page, it's on the right side of the boat now. There it is, directly to the right. So, Hummingbird and Root. And then in front of us and up to the left, right after the next bridge, up to the left, there's something surprising about this next building. There are those white steel X's standing on the roof of this gray building up to the left, those white steel crisscrossing beams. So, the south end of this gray building on the left is built over a dense section of train tracks leading to the train station, and those tracks take up so much space on the ground, there isn't much space left to hold the building up. So instead, the south end of the building is structurally hanging from the trusses on the roof rather than being supported from the ground up. The building itself is from 1990 by Perkins and Will. It's been owned by the Boeing Company since 2002, but it was built to be the headquarters of more of a down-to-earth company than its current tenant. It was originally the home of Morton Salt. Morton Salt is still headquartered in Chicago, but no longer in the Boeing building there. Okay, now folks, we're about to go under Randolph Street. On the right side of the boat, you'll get a quick view of one of my favorite little spots in Chicago that I hope you'll have a chance to try out before you leave town, here on the right. The thing about Starbucks is that Chicago was the first city outside Seattle to have a Starbucks. We're the first step that Starbucks took on their journey to global domination. Now, after the next bridge, actually right here, on the right side of the boat here, this red brick building is the Great Lakes building. It's from 1912, but it stands on the location where in 1860 there was a temporary convention center called the Wigwam, which hosted the convention in 1860 that nominated Abraham Lincoln to run for president, right there on the banks of the river where that brick building stands today. Now folks, after this bridge, this green glass building on the right side of the boat is 333 West Wacker Drive. It's a great example of contextual architecture. Contextualism is defined as matching the surroundings. It's got green glass to match the greenish river water, and the building curves to match the bend in the river where it's built, matching the surroundings like that. That's contextual architecture. Where the city, and then 150 years later, those settlers named their town after an approximation of the native Potawatomi name of this river. But the thing is, folks, those settlers might have looked into picking a different name. All right. Now, folks, on the right side of the boat below eye level is the Chicago Riverwalk. The Chicago Riverwalk is only about 20 years old. It's a relatively new addition to our cityscape, and it was principally designed by Carol Ross Barney. She's based right here in Chicago. Her firm, Ross Barney Architect. French Beaux-Arts style was very popular before Art Deco style sort of took over. French Beaux-Arts style is defined by having an ornate base, a stack of floors, and an ornate top to match the base. Ornate base, stack of floors, ornate top, that's French Beaux-Arts style. Seeking the most beautiful design for a new office tower to be their home. They selected that neo-Gothic Art Deco style design submitted by Howell and Hood as the winner, bankrolled its construction, and was headquartered there from 1925 till 2018. The Tribune Tower is condos today, but still embedded in the walls of the Tribune Tower are newsworthy things from around the world. Embedded in the walls of the Tribune Tower are pieces of the Berlin Wall, Great Wall of China, the Alamo, the former World Trade Centers, and many others visible, labeled on the outside of the building. Bouncing to the right, Chicago. Finished in 2020, it is 1,200 feet or 365 meters tall with 101 stories. It is the third tallest building in Chicago and the current tallest building in the world designed by a woman, a lead female architect. That woman is Jeannie Gang. Wow. Jeannie Gang was born and raised in Belvidere, Illinois, about 60 miles away, and she's based in Chicago with her firm Studio Gang Architects today. Now, if you look way up near the top of the St. Regis, there are 2 floors missing. As the building went up, the architects noticed that there was more potential for the wind to cause the building to sway than originally anticipated. Now, it wasn't going to fall over, but the issue was it could sway in the wind so much that it could crack the glass walls. So in order to protect the windows, they had to give the wind a space to blow through. That's called a blow-through feature. Now, folks, we are approaching our easternmost point of the tour, and I'm going to tell you something about the Chicago River itself. Oh, I'm sorry, we shouldn't be standing on the Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan is our source of drinking water. By polluting it, we were poisoning ourselves with our own sewage. Now, we knew we had to solve this problem, and being Chicagoan, we worked hard to make it someone else's problem. Instead of solving the issue, we made it literally go away by making the Chicago River the only natural river in the world permanently reversed by humankind. Here's how. Not far to the west is the Des Plaines River, which is naturally separate from the Great Lakes and flows toward the Mississippi. To carry our waste away from town, we connect the Chicago to the Des Plaines by building a canal between them named the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal. And at 3 a.m., January 2nd, 1900, we blew up the dams we had built, separating the Chicago from that new canal. It filled it in, connected to the Des Plaines at a lower elevation than the lake. So with a new lowest point to flow toward, the Chicago River reversed, taking water for the first time from Lake Michigan to the Mississippi Valley to the west. Not all of our neighbors were as pleased for us as we were for ourselves upon our feat of engineering. In fact, our neighbors around the lake, the states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Indiana, jointly sued the state of Illinois in federal court for draining the lake and proved that eventually our river would take so much water that parts of Lake Michigan would no longer be navigable. So we were forced to build. Ahead of us to the right, there are those gray gates in the concrete wall. That's the Chicago Harbor Lock, the only direct connection between the lake and river, but it still separates them with a series of movable, closable gates, built in the 1930s for one reason, to slow down the flow of lake water, entering the still reversed, but much cleaner and healthier Chicago River. Now folks, take a couple